There is a version of her that almost no one ever sees, not because she's hiding it deliberately, but because it only emerges under a very specific condition, a condition that most men never learn to create. And when that condition is met, her entire way of being shifts. Her voice changes. Her body softens. She starts doing things, small, quiet, easily missed things, that she would never do around a man she didn't trust at the deepest level. These are not the signals of attraction. Those come first. These are the signals of something rarer. These are the behaviors of a woman who has stopped bracing, who has let her armor fall not just a few inches, but entirely. This isn't about tricks. There are no hacks here. This is about recognizing the unspoken language of a woman who feels so safe with you that she has forgotten to perform. By the time you finish listening, you will know exactly what to look for and what it means when you see it. Most men at this stage do this wrong. They spend weeks or months getting to know a woman. They see her warmth, they see her intelligence, they see her laugh, and they think that's the real her. It is a version of her. But it's not the version that emerges only in the presence of deep emotional safety. That version is different, quieter, stranger, more vulnerable, and most men never see it because they never create the conditions for it to appear. They're so busy trying to be impressive, trying to say the right thing, trying to move the connection forward, that they miss the small, sacred behaviors she only offers when she feels completely safe. They miss the unguarded moment. They miss the silent confession. And she notices that they missed it. She doesn't get angry. She simply notes that this man, like so many before him, was looking at her, but not really seeing her. And the door that might have opened all the way stays where it is, cracked, but never fully wide. Here is the biological truth you need to understand. A woman's nervous system at this stage of life has spent decades in a state of quiet vigilance. Researchers who study mature attachment have observed that the female brain, after years of navigating relationships, responsibilities, and the constant low-grade pressure of being needed, develops a deeply ingrained protective mechanism. Her body is always, on some level, scanning for threat. Not physical threat usually, relational threat. The threat of being drained, the threat of being misunderstood, the threat of giving too much and receiving too little. This scanning happens beneath her conscious awareness. It's why she can seem guarded even when she's enjoying herself. It's why her warmth often comes with a subtle distance. But when she encounters a man who creates genuine emotional safety, a calm, masculine presence that asks for nothing and offers steadiness, her nervous system begins to downshift. The scanning slows, the vigilance softens, and then, without her even deciding to, she begins to display behaviors she would never show to someone she didn't trust with her whole being. These are the secret behaviors, the ones I'm about to show you. Let me share a quick moment of personal failure with you. I once spent an entire afternoon with a woman I cared about. We walked through a park. We sat by a lake. We talked about nothing and everything. At one point, she took off her shoes and walked barefoot in the grass. She laughed at something small and let the laugh trail off into a sigh. She looked at me and said, "I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I haven't felt this unguarded in years." I smiled. I said something like, "That's nice to hear," and I moved the conversation along. I didn't pause to honor what she had just given me. I didn't recognize that I was witnessing a secret behavior. The behavior of a woman who had, for a brief moment, forgotten to protect herself. I treated it as a nice comment rather than a rare gift. And later, when the connection faded, I realized I had been handed a key, and I had used it to open nothing. That's the cost of not knowing these behaviors. You don't just miss a signal, you miss the woman herself. Let me give you 5 secret behaviors a mature woman displays only when she feels deeply safe. Each one is a window into the version of her that almost no one gets to meet. Those who understand this know that seeing even one of these is more significant than 100 polite compliments. First, the unguarded pause. We've talked about the silence offering before. That's when she stops performing and lets the conversation rest. But this is deeper. This is when she stops mid-sentence, not because she's lost her train of thought, but because she's suddenly aware that she doesn't need to fill the space. She's been talking, maybe about something personal, and she just stops. And she looks at you, not with expectation, not waiting for you to jump in, just looking. Her eyes are soft. Her mouth is slightly open. She's not performing a pause. She's resting in it. Most men never notice this because they immediately feel the need to rescue the conversation. They say something, anything. And in doing so, they break the spell. The man who understands this behavior does nothing. He meets her gaze with the settled gaze. He lets the pause be a pause. And in that silence, she is telling you, without words, something she may never say aloud. I don't have to be on with you. I can just be here, and that's enough. Second, the unfiltered admission. This one will surprise you. A woman who feels deeply safe will sometimes say things that sound almost negative. She might say, "I'm not very good at this," or "I don't really know what I'm doing," or "I'm probably boring you." Most men hear this as insecurity and rush to reassure her. "No, you're great. You're not boring at all." And they think they're being kind. But here's what they miss. She's not asking for reassurance. She's offering you her self-doubt, not as a problem to be solved, as a piece of her inner world to be witnessed. A woman at this stage of life has spent decades projecting competence. She knows how to appear put together. She's a master at it. When she lets you see the part of her that isn't sure, that feels inadequate, that wonders if she's enough, she is giving you something precious. Her realness. The confident response is not to fix it. It's to receive it. You might say, "I like hearing the real answer." Or simply, "I'm glad you told me that." You're telling her without words that her vulnerability is not a burden to you. It's a gift. Third, the childlike gesture. This is one of the most overlooked secret behaviors. A woman who feels profoundly safe will, at some point, do something that looks almost young. She might swing her legs while sitting on a high chair. She might twirl a strand of hair around her finger absently. She might make a small, playful sound, a hum, a little sing-song under her breath. She might scrunch her nose when she laughs. These are not conscious choices. They are the body's way of saying, "I have regressed just slightly to a state of less guarding." Her nervous system has decided beneath her awareness that you are not a threat, that you are like family, like someone she's known for years. Most men never notice this because they're not looking for it. They're looking for adult signals of attraction. But this is deeper than attraction. This is the emergence of the self she was before the world taught her to be careful. When you see it, don't comment on it. Don't say, "You look like a little kid right now." Just notice it. Smile internally and know that you have been admitted to a very small circle. Fourth, the protective disclosure. This one is subtle and powerful. A woman who feels deeply safe will sometimes warn you about herself. She'll say something like, "I can be a lot sometimes," or "I have a tendency to overthink," or "I'm not always easy to be with." Most men hear this as a red flag. They get nervous. They think she's telling them to run. She's not. She's telling you something far more significant. She's giving you the map to her interior before you get lost in it. She's saying, "I trust you enough to tell you where the difficult parts of me live." This is not a warning to leave. It's an invitation to stay with awareness. The confident response is not to dismiss it or to promise you can handle it. It's to acknowledge it with steadiness. You might say, "I appreciate you telling me that." Or, "I'll keep that in mind." What you're communicating is this: "I hear you. I'm not afraid of your complexity, and I'm not going to pretend you're simpler than you are." That is what emotional safety sounds like. Her body language reveals the shift. She exhales, she leans in. She just handed you something fragile, and you didn't drop it. Now, my friend, the fifth secret behavior, the one I promised you, the most revealing one, the one that most men will never see because they never stay present long enough for it to emerge. It's called the undefended silence. This is different from the silence offering. That's when she stops performing conversationally. The undefended silence is when she stops performing entirely. It usually happens late, after a long conversation, after a meal, after an evening that has stretched into night. You're sitting together, maybe on a couch, maybe in a car, maybe on a bench somewhere, and she goes quiet. Not the quiet of someone thinking of what to say next, the quiet of someone who has stopped thinking. Her face relaxes completely. The small tension around her eyes and mouth, the tension she carries everywhere, the tension even she doesn't know she carries, dissolves. She looks younger, softer, like a photograph of herself from before the world got heavy. And she just sits there, with you, not needing to speak, not needing to entertain, not needing to be anything at all. Most men never see this because they break the silence. They get uncomfortable. They check their phone. They say, well, I should probably get going. They don't realize that they are in the middle of the most intimate moment a woman at this stage of life can offer. The moment when she has stopped being a woman on a date, a woman being evaluated, a woman performing connection. She has become simply a person, resting in the presence of another person she trusts completely. If you ever find yourself in the undefended silence, my friend, here is what you do. Nothing. You do nothing. You don't speak. You don't move. You don't check the time. You simply stay. You let your own face relax. You let your own breathing slow. You become, with her, two people who have momentarily stepped off the stage of performance and into the quiet room of being. That silence is the real bond. That silence is the destination every other signal has been pointing toward. That silence is her telling you without words the thing she may never say out loud. I am safe here. I am home here. I am me here. If you can meet her in the undefended silence without needing to end it, you have done something most men will never do. You have become the place where her nervous system can finally rest. And a woman at this stage of life will move mountains to stay close to a man who gives her that. These are the secret behaviors. The unguarded pause, the unfiltered admission, the childlike gesture, the protective disclosure, and the undefended silence. They are not loud. They are not obvious. They require a man who is paying attention, a man who is not waiting for a green light, a man who understands that the deepest connection is not announced. It's revealed in the quiet moments when she forgets to be careful. I want you to think back. Have you ever been with a woman and felt her suddenly go soft in a way you couldn't name? Have you ever heard her say something self-critical and rush to fix it, not realizing she was giving you a gift? Which of these behaviors have you seen before, but didn't recognize? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you're seeing now that you couldn't see before. And if this understanding has given you new eyes, if you now realize that her quietest moments are her loudest confessions, then hit that subscribe button. Do it so more men like us can stop chasing words and start witnessing the unspoken language of a woman who has finally found someone safe enough to rest with. Next time, we're going to talk about the one thing she notices about your hands that tells her everything she needs to know about you as a man. And it's not what you think. I'll see you then.